Good evening, everybody, coaches, mentors. Thank you for joining us for our weekly Monday Zoom call. We've got potentially a lot to talk about. We have some results, of course, over the weekend. So as introduction, as always, my name is Craig Peterman, the program delivery partner for the state of Wisconsin, the FLL program, of course. At least on my screen, Brian Farrell, the head referee for the judge advisor for the state. I'll get it one of these days. So he's on the call with us, and we've got Jay Church. He's our head referee. He's driving, so not visual today. Drive carefully, please, Jay.
I am. I'm on hands-free.
All right, thank you. All right.
No, we want your hands on the steering wheel.
Oh, never mind. Sorry.
All right. So today's call is going to be about challenge, but for any Explore coaches that are watching this, as you know, I'm a little bit behind on the assignments for the fall festivals because we are putting the finishing touches on basically converging them. And what we've decided is we are going to have the Franklin Festival concurrent with the challenge tournament. So that's on December 10th. And then we will have the Waukesha Explore Festival concurrent at the same high school as the sectional FLL Challenge tournament. So those are the only two we're going to have for the fall. I take that back. In Brookfield tomorrow night, we've got a 16 festival going on at Pilgrim Parkway Middle School. I will be sending emails out this week to Explore coaches that are participating in the fall festival. So thank you for your patience. We'll get that resolved. All right. Any coaches on the call here with any Explore questions before we move on to challenge? Going once, twice, three times. All right. So let's move on to challenge. It was a great weekend. I'll just really quickly summarize it. We had 80 teams performing over 4 regionals. Lakeshore had 29, Lakeshore Sunday had 12, Marquette Saturday had 23, Marquette Saturday had 16. So a little bit less than, well, actually right about a third of the teams, if we include Appleton from a week ago, have already competed. We've got a big weekend coming up, and eventually I will introduce. We got Greg Bilodeau, who is the tournament director of the Mukwonago Regional. That's our biggest regional, 36 teams. So that should be a really fun day, perhaps tiring, but nonetheless very rewarding. And we also have Bob Getka here, who is the tournament director for the Janesville Regional, and that also is a large tournament, 29 teams. We're building as a program throughout the state. We need to start expecting bigger tournaments, bigger regionals. So that's great. That's the good news. There is no bad news. I will, well, if any of you teams did the math, we actually increased the number of teams that are eligible for the sectionals. So we started off with 72, but since more teams signed up for regionals, we did expand that to 80, which comes out to roughly 31% of the teams that are participating in a regional. So all the tournament directors have their numbers. They know how many are advancing. And in fact, we already have, I didn't do the math or the counting, but basically a third of the sectional spots have already been taken. So, are there any general administrative, organizational type questions? And if not, I will pass the baton over to Greg. Care to go first? Just to talk about the upcoming Mukwonago regional.
Sure, I can do. And just a notice ahead of time here. I apologize if my daughter talks during this. She's been very vocal tonight. And I'm on parenting duty. So yeah, hi. My name's Greg, tournament director for the Mukwonago event. Just a little 10-second background. I competed at this event when I was 10 years old, so a long time ago as well. So it's great to see it still going along. But yeah, just some quick details here. Like Craig said, we're a pretty big events, 36 teams. Doors will be opening at 7 a.m. with all of the rounds starting at 8:30. So we'll have a good hour and a half there for everybody to get settled, and to get your teams prepared and ready for the day. It'll be pretty fast paced. So just do your best to stay on top of your team's schedule as we go throughout the day. I will be sending out an email in the next couple days with the detailed schedule for each team, along with like a concessions menu so you guys can see what's at the concession stand. But yeah, I tend to wait as long as I can on the detailed schedule, just so that if we have any teams drop, I don't have outdated schedules sent out to you guys, and then there's a whole mishmash and everybody's confused, and grandma and grandpa show up and miss their grandchild's presentations. But yeah, generally on that note, if you've got family members that are coming to attend and they want to watch these presentations, just make sure that they are there beforehand. So that make sure they go into the room before the students do, because as soon as the students walk in, the time for their judging starts, and we do not allow people to come in afterwards. But yeah, I don't know if there's anything I've missed here, Craig or Bob or Brian or Jay, that you think I should bring up.
I think one thing to point out, just so people know, those concessions are run by the robotics teams that are typically putting on the events, and it's a fundraiser for them. So, do pass that information on to your teams so that they can help support the other first teams. So.
Yes, we do appreciate that support.
And Greg, I always ask everybody, I'm not sure if you know the menu yet, but do you have vegetarian, gluten-free, any options like that, or do you know?
I have to double check on the gluten-free, but there are non-meat options for sure.
Okay.
I've just got to double check on that one.
Just in case somebody, if you guys don't have something like that, they'll know to bring something for that child.
Yeah, no, that's a great comment.
That's probably my only one, so.
Okay. Any questions from the coaches that are on the call here? Going once, twice?
I have a
Go ahead.
question about one thing my kids were wondering about. If they have like a Lego jig to get things in the right position, the robot in the right position, do they have to like pull that completely away, or if it's sitting right behind the robot, is it okay to hit play?
Can you hear me, or am I on mute right now?
Can hear you.
Okay, perfect. So they don't have to move the jig away. The jig can span between the launch area and the home area. So it can actually go all the way back to the back wall, and they can actually hold it down when they launch their robot as well.
Okay,
So they don't have to move it.
Sounds good. That's what we were wondering about. We asked a different.
Yep.
We asked a different kid. We were at Badgerbot tonight, so we asked this other kid, but Craig had, I think, was somewhere. But the other kid that was there, he said, "Yeah, I think you can just leave it there." That's what we did. I just wanted to make sure.
Yep, you can.
Thank you.
Sure.
So, but, and again, that's fine, Angie, no problem asking the question, but let's just focus on the tournaments details.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's no, that's fine. That's fine. Because then if Greg and Bob need to cut out, they will. And then we can talk about and answer all the ref questions, table questions. So if there's no specific questions for Greg, Bob, care to share a few details?
Sure. So I cannot say that I was at Parker's meet. Ours is a relatively new regional. I think we've only been running for 8 years now. But yeah, we do have a relatively large place to hold. We've held sectionals and states at Parker before. But yeah, we got 29 teams coming. Looking forward to the day. Very similar schedule to what Greg was talking about. We should have the official schedule sent out shortly. And we'll be on our way. But yeah, everything else is pretty much the same. We'll have concession there also, and should be a good time.
Okay, any questions for Bob, for those coaches on the call?
I do have a question about the Janesville Regional. When they are in the room for their judging session, doing the presentations, is there a table in there for them to set anything on?
So the classrooms probably won't have one, right, for the
Okay.
kids. So there'll be a table for the judges. But right, so I think you probably have to bring a table to put students to put stuff on.
Okay, sounds good. That's what we wanted to know.
Okay.
Would a desk work? Is that potentially
So
available?
there will be student desks.
Oh,
Correct.
okay.
They slanted?
Yep. Slightly slanted. That is
Okay.
true.
All
So
right.
there's nothing to set the robot on if they bring it in? Somebody has to and hope they don't drop it?
Right.
Well, Bob, can you have them pull up a couple desks to the front where the
Sure.
presentations go, and then just put them front to front, and then it's not a smooth straight across table, but a robot shouldn't roll off of it because you're going to have friction.
Yeah.
Okay.
Poster boards will be fine. We do this at other schools as well. We did it
Greg?
last weekend in Marquette.
Oh.
Worked out.
Greg, care to answer that same question for those watching on YouTube about a table or desk?
About tables, yeah, we'll have student desks. We may have a table up front. I have to take a look at the classroom specifically, but it is likely we'll have desks. If not, I would just ask before your kids go into the room.
Okay,
I just envision that most teams don't want the kids holding onto the robot the entire time because I just imagine something falling.
Sure.
Yeah, we understand.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I'll try to make that a priority when we're setting up the rooms here to see if there is an option for that in each room.
Okay, Emily put in the chat, wheeled carts are always a great thing for teams to have on hand to bring with. Just a piece of advice from coach to another. That's fine getting your stuff to and from judging. Jay, are they? I don't know that they're allowed on the competition tables anymore. Is that correct?
Yeah. So the venues themselves will have to decide if they can have a cart to the table. But once they unload, they'll have to get away from the table. They'll have to be moved out of the way. They can't have them in the waiting area. So, I mean, most teams just bring.
Right.
Sorry,
You will not be able to bring them at Parker. Yeah,
Okay.
They do not want them on the gym floors.
Yeah, most places do not want them out there anymore. But we had specific rules 2 years ago that said they could not bring carts. That rule does not exist again this year, so it's strictly up to the tournament directors. If you bring something to the table, carts or whatever, before the teams can start their game, it has to be moved way back out of the way. So I would suggest no. But...
Yeah. Okay. She did clarify that she was talking about judging.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Sorry, Emily, I can't see that.
Yep, no problem. But again, it's not on the video otherwise, so, or the recording, so I figured I better chime in.
Okay, any other questions from coaches on the call for Greg at Mukwonago or Bob at Janesville?
Actually, a question, Bob, you're pretty flat where you are, right? So they could actually, if they had a cart, could wheel it down to judging, but not on the gym floor, right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Right. So Greg, I just made a note here that, right, I think teams should bring a tote. So I think that's what we've done in the past at our regionals that we've gone to, is bring a tote that they can carry everything to it, even to the judges table or into the robot room. And then you've got to move it away from, is that correct, Jay? So I can bring a tote up there, take all of my stuff out of the tote, and now we can move it over to the stands. The stands is only going to be about 10 feet away from the robots tables.
Yep. That's absolutely correct. And that's what I have been seeing most teams do is bring a tote with their robot and unload onto the table and then hand it to a parent and then get it out of the way. So
No sense juggling all the
Yep.
parts and chance dropping them. Greg,
Oh,
are
yeah,
you single floor or you double floor there?
Everything's on the first floor this year.
Okay, nice. I know in the past sometimes it's second floor there. So
Oh, yeah.
Will
And-
there be any practice tables for them to practice their robots on in between runs at Janesville?
Yep.
We'll have at least 4 and maybe 6 practice tables. How many practice sets are we getting, Craig?
Well, I mean, you're getting 8 extra sets.
Okay.
So
wait a minute. You're talking about tables though, yeah?
Yeah,
Well,
this is in the pits.
I don't have tables.
I
the
do have
trailer
to-
has, well, the trailer's going down. The trailer has 8 tables.
The trailer has 4 practice tables in it.
Yep.
Bob said he's got some in inventory, so possibly he can pull those out.
Right. So I think we're gonna pull up 6 total tables.
Practice
And
tables.
will there be a sign up for practice, or is it just first come, first serve, or for a certain amount of time?
So what I'm planning is that every team can have 2, at most 2 signups. So as you finish one, you will have a second one that you are already signed up for, and now you can sign up for your next one. So that's what I am envisioning, that you would have at most 2 signups for each team at any one time.
And there won't be any practice in the morning then? The
Yes.
judging will all be in the morning.
So that that's going to change again. It's going back to a similar schedule to what we originally
Okay.
set.
Okay.
Right. Yeah.
So if you guys are using Brian's schedule, and I apologize, I don't know which one you're using, that does have a scheduled practice round on the tournament tables as well. It's scheduled on there, if that's the schedule you're using.
Yes.
Okay.
There
In
was a-
addition to your practice tables, coach, I'm sure I can't see your name, but in addition to the practice tables that Bob's talking about with sign up, there's actually a scheduled time slot, just like a competition round, for the practice round on the competition tables. So
the feedback from coaches and kids, as you can imagine, has been very positive on the practice round.
Yeah.
So we're going to continue to try and do that with all the tournaments henceforth. And just for both Greg and Bob, the tournament tables are both going to be in the main gym at each of your respective high schools. Is that correct? Okay.
Yes.
Bob gave the thumbs up, and there's Greg. All right. So just, give you a little visualization there. All right. Well, I mean, if there's no more questions, obviously, Greg and Bob, you're welcome to stay on as long as you want. But thank you for your feedback, and obviously, thank you for the efforts that you guys put in putting on the regionals and the big ones too. So thank you. All right.
absolutely, thanks. We definitely appreciate you. We know the work you guys put in, and it's yeah, I wouldn't want to be you. So thank you very much for everything.
And you also they're also very good. They're fun tournaments too.
Oh yeah, great. I've been to both of them. They're phenomenal.
Me as well.
Thanks, guys.
All right. Thanks, Greg. Thanks, Bob. All right. So for the coaches on the call, we'll open it up to anything and everything. Unless Brian, anything you care to, Jay, anything come to mind?
No, I'm good. Whatever. I'll let them shoot for any questions they have.
All right. It's an open mic. And if there aren't any, then we'll call it an evening.
I have a question about the art piece, the masterpiece that needs to get delivered, and then that expert that gets delivered to the museum as well. So I know in the rules it says that your team pieces or something like that cannot be touching the art piece. Can that museum curator be touching the art piece?
Did I lose you guys?
Nope,
No.
you're there.
Did she drop?
No,
Who dropped?
Okay, I did not hear I'm sorry, I did not hear the question. I'm driving, so I apologize.
Oh,
Could you ask?
I was wondering so the the art piece and the museum curator both need to go to the museum.
Yes.
I know there was a rule with the art piece and the pedestal that none of your team pieces can be touching it to get
Yep.
scores on it. Can the
Yep.
museum curator be touching it?
Okay, so we break out that specific thing into 4 different areas. Okay, number 1, well, first of all, you can get points for the masterpiece without being on the pedestal. So the first scoring criteria is that your art piece is partially in the museum area. Okay, the second, now that we move on to the bonus criteria. For bonus criteria, if it's fully supported by the pedestal and touching nothing else, we're talking about the art piece, you get the bonus for the art piece. Now, the art piece can't be touching anything other than the pedestal, and the pedestal can't be touching any other team equipment other than the art piece. Now, audience members are not team equipment, so they're fine touching the pedestal, but not the art piece. Same thing with the curator. He could be touching the pedestal, but not the art piece. Clear as mud?
Yeah, so it can be touching the pedestal, just not the actual art piece, is what you're saying.
The curator specifically is the question.
Yeah, like I'm curious about the curator and the audience members.
Yep, audience members and the curator can both be touching the pedestal, just not the art piece. Yep.
Just not the art piece. Okay. Okay.
Correct.
I'm glad we're recording this so people can replay that over and over again.
Luckily, that's the only rule I really know. So
That's how many questions have been asked about it.
no, it's a complicated one. I
Yeah.
like it, but it's very, very complicated.
Right. All right. Anything else? Going once, going twice. All right. Well, for those teams competing in this upcoming weekend, good luck. 2 big, exciting tournaments, 29, 36 teams respectively. It's going to be a lot of fun. Let's see. Brian is going to be in Janesville. I'm going to be in Mukwonago. Jay, where are you going to be?
I'm in Janesville.
And Jay is in Janesville as well. So if there are any questions in the meantime, FLLteams@badgerbots.org. That's the fastest way to reach me, and I promise I will find the right person to address the issue. All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and good luck this coming weekend. Good night, everybody.